Katie and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a much needed bookshelf clean out and we're going to be unhauling some books as well as replacing these books with new books. In 2024, it has been my goal to kind of bring down my physical TBR and get it to a more manageable state. I don't have a super big TBR, like physical TBR, but I have noticed in the past couple months that there's a lot of books on my shelf that I don't reach for ever when I'm trying to pick a book to read. And a lot of them are books that I bought a few years ago when I first got back into reading and was buying everything so I could have things to grab on my shelf. Now, a lot of the books that are in front of me right now are books that no matter how many times I look at them, I'm just not inclined to read them. And lately I've been thinking about how in your life you can only read so many books. And if it's not something that I really want to read, then I probably should just unhaul it because I really only want to read books like I'm chasing that 5-star feeling, right? So I really only want to read books that I think are going to be 5 stars. And if there's any reason for me to doubt that, I kind of just want to ditch the book, if that makes sense. So today we're going to be going book shopping. I'm going to do a really fun POV style video for you guys like I did the last time I went book shopping at Barnes & Noble. But today we're going to be going to my favorite bookstore in the Arizona area, and that is Changing Hands. Changing Hands is an independent bookstore where you can bring in your used books and they will give you store credit for books as long as they have not been written in. So this is kind of hard for me because I annotate a lot. So if I start something that I'm kind of iffy about, I'll make sure I don't write in it at all. That way I know I can bring it back to Changing Hands if I want to. They don't take everything you give them. They will give you back some books because they have like a counter where they verify that what you're giving them is something that they need. But I usually go to the Changing Hands that's near me. I'm going to one that's a little bit farther away because they have a much better book selection. I went there in a vlog earlier this year and I just got such better books, and they have such a better range of genres and books and used and new, and yeah. So I'm going to show you guys the books that I'm going to be unhauling and explain why. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so starting off strong, I am going to be unhauling Scythe and Thunderhead. So Scythe I read earlier this year, I think about a month or two ago. And while it was good, I just am not that interested in continuing on the series. It didn't really blow me away the way that I thought it would. And I've had Scythe, this has been brand new sitting on my shelves since I think 2018. Like, if I've been sitting on it since 2018, finally read it, and I'm just not that into it, then it needs to go. These also both fall into YA, and I've just noticed as I get older that YA just doesn't do it for me. I feel like the more books I read, the harder it is to get me to say this is a 5-star book because I'm just used to reading so much. And YA very seldom surprises me or gets me excited or even near the 5-star feeling. So I'm going to be unhauling both of these. Next is another YA. This is A Winter's Promise. I bought this like 3 or 4 years ago because my little sister liked them, but she stopped reading them after the 3rd book, I believe, and never picked them back up. And that was a big red flag for me. I've had a couple friends also read these and they said that they didn't really love them. So I'm just too afraid to pick it up. And honestly, I have heard nothing about this book. I'm not especially interested in it, and because it's been sitting on my shelf for so long and I've never grabbed it, I think it's time for it to go. Next we have The Kite Runner. I have never read this. I don't even really know what it's about, but I know that I'm never gonna pick it up. It's been sitting on my shelves forever. I don't really read a lot of memoirs or true stories or things like this, and so if it's not especially interesting to me and not something high on my list, I'm definitely not gonna read it. In that same vein, I'm also gonna be trying to get rid of Seabiscuit. This book is just, again, one of those like memoir type books, and I don't read this very often, and especially if I'm not like extremely interested in it. For example, I have Crying in H Mart on my shelf and it's been there for a while, but I know I'm gonna read it because I really want to. Seabiscuit, however, just doesn't fall into that same vein, so it's gonna go. Next is The Au Pair. I don't even know if this book has really been talked about very much, but I hate this book. This was the first book I read when I got back into reading in 2018. It's terrible. It's a suspense novel, and it's one of my least favorite books ever written. I hated it, but I did read the whole thing. And I don't like keeping books on my shelves that I hated. Like, I don't see a point in keeping them because I want to have a library full of books that I can lend out to friends that I love, or even that are just okay, or that I think that other people would like. But like, this is a book that I would not recommend to anyone, so like, why would I want it on my shelves? And in that same vein is also Something About Mary by Cody Hall. I read this Christmas season. It was one of the worst romances I've ever read. I barely got through it, and it has like no Christmas vibes. And again, I don't want to keep books on my shelf that I just like don't like, because what's the point? Next is Caraval. I did read this whole book and it was fine, but after reading it, I felt like I didn't want to carry on with this portion of the series. I did read all of the Curse for True Love books and I loved those. This, however, not so much, just not my thing. And if I don't like it, again, I don't want to keep it on my shelves. Even if it's like, I mean, if I'm not going to buy the rest of them. I'm not going to continue with the series. It doesn't match the other books, and just like, why keep it on the shelf if I don't love it? Next book is another YA, The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Adia. I'm probably saying that wrong. But I've had this on my shelf for a really long time. Again, this is another book that I just have never picked up, never been interested in. I bought it literally, I think 3 or 4 years ago. This is another one like A Winter's Promise, where it's like, I've had it forever. I have never picked it up. If I'm never interested in it, then it's probably not a book I want to read. I've also seen some people that I really trust give this mixed reviews, so that makes me think that it's probably not worth my time. Next, we have a special edition of Pride and Prejudice. This is just not my favorite special edition, and I already have 2 special editions of Pride and Prejudice. I'm not one of those people that likes to keep like a million copies of the same book. So this is gonna go for someone that doesn't have a special edition and would love it. I also don't like the margins in this book. Like, they're just very wide and yeah, just not my thing. So this one's gonna go. Next is A Tiger's Curse by Colleen Huck. I was keeping this to do a YA rereads video and I've just never felt like picking it up, and so for those reasons, it needs to go. The Boy in the Striped Pajamas, this is also going. I think this was gifted to me. It wasn't a book that I purchased, and it's in pretty good condition, but I just have no interest in reading it, and I'm not going to, so. Next, The Knife of Never Letting Go. This book I read when I was in high school, and I've had it ever since. It's still in really great condition, but I just know I'm never gonna read this, and it's not something that I particularly think about often, so it's going. Next, we have Finish by John A Cuff and Leaders Eat Last. These were given to me by my leadership staff when I was in college, and I was supposed to read them. I never did, and I never have any plans to. They've literally, spines have never been cracked. They've never even been read. Maybe they'll give me money for these. We'll see. Next is Charlie Higson, The Enemy. I don't even know what this is about. I think I bought this as a gift for Ethan when we very first got married because he was wanting some books. He never felt interested to pick this up, and I have absolutely no interest in picking this up. And it has literally never been read. Spine never cracked, perfect condition, so it's going. Next is An Enchantment of Ravens by Morgan Rogerson. I read this a couple years ago, and again, it's just like an okay book. It's nothing to write home about. I don't recommend this. I also don't think about it very often. I've almost completely forgotten the plot of this book. And there are certain books that are like medium that I will keep on my shelves. Obviously, I'm not only going to keep like 5-star books on my shelves because I want to have full bookshelves. But if it's a book like this where I don't really think about it very often, I'm not like thinking about lending it out, I don't know, it doesn't leave a mark on my brain, then it's gonna go. And that is about it. I mean, that is a lot of books to unhaul from my shelves. I will say it cleaned my shelves up quite a bit to get all of these off of there, and I'm excited to see how much they give me for these. Like, that's an exciting part, because then we're gonna take these books and we're going to buy books that I actually want instead of books that I just am like on the fence about, which is great news. So let's go to changing hands. That is literally so many books. These voiceovers are becoming my most favorite thing of like my YouTube videos very quickly. Guys, I drove 45 minutes to get to this bookstore, and I like originally was thinking that was gonna be like such a long time, but really it's not. Like, I just put on my 1975 playlist and I just moved and grooved, okay? Also, just picture me with this giant hobo girl tote bag. Like, you saw how many books is in this, just like lugging it through the parking lot to get to this bookstore. And then me accidentally almost going into the Wildflower Bread Company restaurant instead of changing hands because I was not like paying attention. I'm just like recording a vlog. That's just the hazard of recording vlogs in public, okay? But how freaking cute is changing hands? I immediately dropped off my bag at the like trading counter, and he told me it was gonna be an hour to 45 minutes. He thought that was gonna deter me. He was like, you know, it's gonna be 45 minutes to an hour before I'm done evaluating these for trade. And I was like, try me. I will be in here for at least an hour, if not more. And it was more. It was like 2 hours I was in here. It's literally the cutest bookstore ever. This is the one in Tempe. I like it way better than the one in Glendale. I don't know. It's way bigger. I feel like it's got more of a vibe to it. The one in Glendale does have the first draft book bar in it, which I love. It's literally a book themed bar. But just look how happy I am to be in here. Like, this totally was what I needed today. I started out in the fantasy section as per usual, honestly. And I was just excited to be here. The first thing I saw was The Witcher. They had like $8 copies of The Witcher for some reason. I don't know why, but like all of these copies were $8. I don't know if someone donated a bunch of the same books, but I have thought about reading The Witcher on so many occasions. It's been interesting to me since I saw like I think I've seen 2 episodes of the show, and I'm like, man, this is probably such a good book, but I don't know. I wasn't sure about it. I'm like, I haven't done enough research. I feel like I haven't read enough reviews to know if this is actually good. And I'm also scared that I watched too much of it. I also went and looked at When the Moon Hatched because every time I see this book, I have to go hold it and like look at how freaking huge it is. I can't believe a romantasy is this big. The dragons are really tempting me. The fact that there's dragons in this book is really making me want to read it. But, you know, I still don't know. That's like a huge commitment. I mean, look, it literally huge, like physically gigantic commitment. So wasn't really sure about that either. I just had to kick my cats out of the office during this voiceover because they were both just like, neither of them, they honestly both take after me. Neither of them shuts the fuck up ever. They're just like constantly making noise and talking. So they just got ejected from the office while I record this voiceover. Anyway, digging through fantasy, I honestly, like, I felt like I wasn't seeing any titles that I've been adding on GOODREADS lately. Like, I felt like I was kind of in, like, at a loss. I started going back and looking at things I've looked at a million times before. I mean, you guys have saw me look at Swordcatcher last time I was at Barnes. Like, I don't know. I'm interested in Swordcatcher, especially because my sister's reading Cassandra Clare's, like, one of her series. I can't remember which ones it is. So it makes me interested in it. I also saw the paperback of Immortal Longings, and I feel like I have not seen this before. I've only seen the hardcover. Am I wrong in that? Did this just come out? I read a little bit about it on the back. I honestly don't remember what it said. I think it's like people can like change bodies or like switch bodies or something. I'm not sure if I'm right about that or not, but it looked cool. I swear I've never seen the paperback in a store before. Maybe that's like complete like blasphemy and I actually have, but that's what I thought. Then I went and looked at the Ray Bradbury section. I have a Ray Bradbury from this exact location. I have The Martian and I still haven't read it. So you know I wasn't going to let myself leave with another Ray Bradbury when I haven't even finished the one that I currently own. But I do want to read more of his stuff. I feel like he's like a pillar in the fantasy world, in the sci-fi world. Like I need to read more of it. I then picked up the Wren, the Wren in the Holly Library. This is from Red Tower Books, and these are so interesting to me because they are like pumping out these like special edition books before they've ever been printed. They have these gorgeous covers, these sprayed edges. These are the same people that popularized Fourth Wing. And there's a couple other titles. Five Broken Blades. And I'm just so interested in their publishing model. And I don't know whether this book is good or not. I haven't heard anything about it. But every time Red Tower publishes something, I'm interested in it because of the way that they do it. Like the fact that there are these gorgeous end pages and sprayed edges and all of this. Like obviously this is the marketing strategy that they're using of just like right out the gate publishing these really nice books is working because people like me are super interested in them right away because they look gorgeous. It's kind of like they're taking judge a book by its cover like really seriously, but this did look interesting. I think it had to do with like books and libraries and a girl like teaming up with someone who seemed not that great for special powers. I then went and looked at Robin Hobb's books. I have been so interested in these for a while. I don't know enough, and I saw somebody say they were really, really slow, but there's like 12 books in the series, which sounds like awesome to me. Like it sounds like such an awesome thing to me if I liked them, but I don't know. I feel like I can't pull the trigger on them. I then went over to teen fiction, which they have a really big teen fiction, like YA fiction section in this Changing Hands. Like it's such a big section and they have a lot of used titles, which I really appreciate. I wasn't even really sure what I was looking for here, but I saw Study in Drowning right away. And I am saving this for fall. I'm going to read this in fall. You're all here as my witnesses. I am reading A Study in Drowning in fall. This is the book we're reading, okay? So I didn't get it today, but I'm like so excited to read it. I've heard such good things. Then I went and looked at Chloe Walsh's books, and I was thinking about getting Saving 6 and Redeeming 6 because I haven't read them yet, and I have Taming 7, but I think I need to read the 6 books before I read the 7 books. And then I thought, because part of my thing today was like, maybe I'll just get some books that I have read but don't own. And I thought about getting Binding and Keeping 13, but like I have such a hard time like choosing to buy books I've already read but don't have on my shelf over books that I haven't read. Like stop me. Then I went over to romance. Okay, I, again, love the used romance. I saw a version of The Love Hypothesis here. Not a version, an edition of The Love Hypothesis that was used, and it was only $8. So I've read The Love Hypothesis and all of Allie's books, but I don't own them. Same, or at least I don't own The Love Hypothesis. Same with Emily Henry's books. I was looking at those for the same reason. I went over and looked at Clockwork Angel. This is more YA, because this is the series my sister was reading. Now I can remember and tell you guys the exact name. It's the Clockwork Angel. The Infernal Devices. George is reading those, and she loved them. And I've actually seen plot breakdowns for them, so I am super interested in them, but I just don't know. Like, I've read City of Bones, and it was so cringe. I couldn't do it. You know, the incest plot line. And her books get thick. I mean, look at this Queen of Air and Darkness. That is thick as fuck. Like, I don't know. Part of me wants to get into it because if I loved it, look how many books there are. But then the other part of me is like, I've read some City of Bones and didn't freaking love it. Which, yeah, I mean, they have some used copies of that too, but who wants that? I don't think so. I also am super interested in reading The Naturals. I did end up buying this because it's on Kindle Unlimited, and I think this is going to be more of a like guilty pleasure fun book for me. I haven't read Inheritance Games, but I don't know. Everybody's been talking about Naturals lately, and I want to read it because it sounds like just a fun, light read that would get me out of slump, which I feel like I'm kind of in a slump territory right now. So maybe, I don't know. I was thinking like I'll just download them on my Kindle. I also saw The Cruel Prince while I was here, and I don't know if I've talked about this on my channel yet, but I am really interested in rereading The Cruel Prince because I read it already, and it was like right when it came out, before the hype was real. And my friend had told me that she thinks that if I reread it now, I would like it because I love political like fantasy, and I remembered liking this and then just not continuing, and I don't even really remember why. And then I read a review of it of someone talking about all the reasons why it was bad, and I don't know if I actually related to that or not. Like, I feel like maybe I didn't actually hate The Cruel Prince, and I need to reread it to see. Then I went over to just regular fiction. I don't spend a lot of time in just like fiction when I'm in the store. I'm usually in fantasy or romance. So came over here to take a look at some stuff. Saw The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is another book I think I'm going to save for fall, but I am so interested in this and the Dark Academia vibes. Like, I just like really, really want to read it actually. My little sister has read part of it, and I think she's stopped reading it. I don't know if it was like the book's fault or her just not vibing with it thing, but yeah, I am super interested in this, and I'm definitely going to pick it up for fall. This will be something I read with like a study of drowning. I don't even know what I was doing in this section, honestly. Like, I don't spend a lot of time in the fiction section, and there was a lot of books in this section that I would have pegged for fantasy, and I was like, maybe this is why I haven't been able to find these like fantasy books, because they're actually in the fiction section, and I just don't apparently know how to look at a bookstore. Like, I saw Inkblood Sister Scribe, and I was like, does this actually get shelved here? Because this is about like witches protecting some books, and like I totally thought this was fantasy, and I never would have came looking for it in this section. I don't know if that's just a changing hands thing, or if this is actually shelved in just plain old fiction all the time. What's the difference between fiction and fantasy? I mean, fantasy is fiction, but like, I don't know, if there's magical elements, to me that's fantasy. Then I walked over to the mystery. I also never go in the mystery section, but I am in a major book slump right now, or I feel like I have one coming on. I guess I'm not in one yet. And so I'm like, maybe I need something new and fun that's different. And like maybe mystery is my thing. I did read the Truly Devious trilogy in YA, and that's like a murder mystery, and I freaking loved it. So I don't know why I haven't ever picked up another mystery book since. I saw If We Were Villains over here, and I didn't realize that was pegged as mystery either. I thought this was kind of more, I don't know, I guess it's Dark Academia is not like a genre, but that's where I look at it. I don't think I will read this because I know it relies a lot on Shakespearean stuff, and I just don't know if I'd be that interested or not. I then went and saw Thursday Murder Club, and this is about elderly people who like solve a murder and then become like this like murder solving crew, and I got pretty interested in this. I was like, this might be a good place for me to like enter the mystery genre. I've heard good things about it, so I don't know. Honestly, by the end of me shopping, I was really confused. I did not know what I was going to do. I wasn't sure. Hello friends, welcome back from the iPhone cam. We just got done inside of changing hands. I only got $16 of trade-in, which is not incredible. I also got like most of the books I brought in back. R.I.P. me. I'm taking that as my sign from God that maybe I'm supposed to read those books. I'm probably going to take them to the other Changing Hands. I will go to both locations and see if they want what I have. So I'll take them to the other location, see if they'll give me money, but I'm not going to do that in this video. That'll be a different day. But I wanted to show you guys what I ended up walking out with. Honestly, I want you to guess what I walked out with because it is the last thing I expected to, and I honestly was having a hard time picking something while I was in there. I feel like I went in like wanting so many different books, and I didn't see a lot of things I've recently added to like my TBR and Goodreads. Also, a problem with this Changing Hands is that I have absolutely no service, so I can't look at Goodreads, and I kind of just have to go off of vibes and like if I've heard anything good about the book in the past. I can't like look things up that I'm interested in, which scares me so much because if you know me and you've been on these like bookshop with me videos, you know that I am like extremely reliant on Goodreads, and so when I can't see books ratings, it's really hard for me. So the first book that I'm gonna show you guys that I went with that is like so outside my comfort zone is The Thursday Murder Club. I've seen this book before at my Barnes, and I've always been interested with this little fox guy. I think it's kind of cute. But I've never picked it up because I've never been a mystery type of gal. But I will say today I was like shopping in the YA section and I saw Truly Devious. It's a YA mystery, like murder mystery series that I was really into. And I was like, why have I not picked up more stuff like that? Because I loved that book. And then I saw this in the mystery section while I was going through, I think you guys saw, and I kept thinking about it. Okay, my camera was literally baking in that window, so I went ahead and moved you around. So anyway, this is about a group of senior citizens that is wanting to solve murders together. I read a couple pages of it. It sounds funny, it sounds fun, and I think it's gonna be really good, and it'll be a good way for me to delve into the mystery genre. He has a bunch of other novels with the same group, the Thursday Murder Club, solving murders. So that might be fun if, I don't know, maybe I'm into mystery, murder, mystery kind of stuff. I think this might excite me because I feel like a little bit of a slump coming on, and I'm wanting to like diversify my shelves, find some new things that are a little bit different than what I usually grab, and not just like the basic like what's popular at the moment, like maybe try something a little bit different that I haven't heard a lot about. So that's why I grabbed this. So then the second book that I walked out with is The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I've been super interested in Robin Hobb's world for a long time. She has like, I think 3 trilogies or maybe more than that. It's about a character named Fitz, and you follow him from the age of like 7, like you're literally with him his entire life. And I was looking at this book when we were in Changing Hands. I think you might have seen me look at it once while we were in there, but I usually don't grab it because I had heard that this first book is really slow and that maybe I wouldn't super like it, and I don't know. So I was kind of like avoiding it, but then I went back to the aisle and a girl walked in there and goes, "This is literally my favorite series of all time," talking to her friend, and pointed at Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice books. And I was like, where do I start? I literally just go, "Hi, since those are your favorite books, what do I start with?" And she pointed me to this one, which I thought was the first one, but I wasn't sure. I couldn't look at Goodreads, so I didn't know. And she was like, literally, it's very character driven. It's all about him. You're gonna want to just spend all your time with him if you like character driven novels. And I was like, I do. So just hand it over to me, and so I got The Assassin's Apprentice, and I'm excited to read this as well. This is like, I feel like a foundational, almost classic fantasy series that a lot of people really love, so I am really, really excited to read it. So that's what we got there. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for book shopping with me today. That was really fun. I'm glad. If you guys like these POV videos of me taking you book shopping, let me know. I have fun making them, and I like for you guys to be there with me while I'm like making my thought process. I like doing the little voiceovers. I think they're fun. So yeah, if you guys like this, let me know. If you saw a book in the video you think I should read, let me know. I'm still really thinking about Lev Grossman's The Magicians. I almost walked out with that. I was literally this close to walking out with it, but I didn't. And I just have mixed feelings about it because I don't know if I'll like it or not. I don't know. So anyways, I love you guys so much. Please subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw. Comment, like, tell me your feelings down below. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
I've been contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if